the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has been admitted to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences with fever at this stage. He's 88 years old. The trauma center of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where he has been admitted, is where COVID patients are treated. Just in the last little while, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has tweeted, "My prayers are with Manmohan Singh ji and his family today, and my deepest respect. May he fight the scourge with all his might and get well soon." If scourge refers to COVID, then that could well be a first confirmation that in fact the former Prime Minister, who is 88 years old, is in fact suffering from COVID or has been detected with COVID. Let's go across now to NDTV Sunil Prabhu, who's got more. Sunil, when did Dr. Manmohan Singh be admitted? When was he admitted at AIIMS?
He was admitted in AIIMS this evening. There was a lot of deliberations between his office and the doctors, his personal physician, about where he should be admitted. He has been admitted in the trauma center, which has given rise to the fact that he's COVID positive, but we will wait for a statement from the hospital. Dr. Manmohan Singh complained of fever last evening, and this fever persisted this morning. It's then that the doctor, his personal physician, decided to do tests, and that's when they decided, as a matter of abundant precaution, even though all his parameters, they say, are okay, would be needed to be admitted. He has had 2 bypasses, as you're well aware. He's also diabetic, and it's in that context that the doctors are taking no chances with the former Prime Minister and admitting him in hospital. Right. Having said that, Dr. Manmohan Singh has had the co-vaccine doses, both 2 doses of that. The last one was taken on the 3rd of April, and our prayers are with him. He is definitely one of the best. He's been the Prime Minister for 10 years and has had a long career both in politics, in education.
Right.
And
so, Sunil, let me ask you this. This comes at a rather unfortunate time, and there's been this ugly war of words from the Health Minister's side, and the Health Minister not known to be anything but the single most polite person that you would find, but responding to a letter from Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, where the former Prime Minister had a series of suggestions on how COVID could be responded to. Dr. Harshvardhan, the Health Minister, was fairly direct, in his response, saying that, these were political statements which were made by several Congress leaders, and that there were factual errors which were made in Manmohan Singh's letter. And today, right now, he's admitted at AIIMS for COVID.
Extremely unfortunate. I think that letter and its timing, of course, when Dr. Manmohan Singh is, admitted in hospital, could have been avoided. But Dr. Harshvardhan, of course, sent this letter probably before Dr. Manmohan Singh had been, the doctors decided to admit him in hospital. But having said that, everybody realizes Dr. Manmohan Singh, in his letter to the Prime Minister, talked about 5 approaches which are now being accepted by the government one way or the other. This was a reflection of what happened in the Congress Working Committee, and he was voicing that concern through a letter to the Prime Minister to express their valuable and impossible and good suggestions in terms of vaccine manufacturers requiring the required impetus and making it a national mission. The other point, of course, being a transparent policy, and a whole lot of other issues which he raised, including saying that states must be allowed to decide how they go about it, as well as various other aspects in this regard in terms of what Dr. Manmohan Singh had written. But of course, politics has taken uppermost at this time when there is a public health emergency, when the focus should have been not about us versus them, but taking it in the right spirit and ensured that all hands are on board, that politics must be kept aside, and we are, as a one nation, trying to fight this pandemic, whatever the case may be. And vaccine development, everybody getting vaccinated is the biggest priority at this stage.
All right, thanks very much. It's very unfortunate. 88-year-old former Prime Minister of the country, Dr. Manmohan Singh, very unwell. Rahul Gandhi tweeting, "Wish you a speedy recovery. India needs your guidance and advice in this difficult time." Priyanka Gandhi Vadra referring to it as the scourge. The former Prime Minister has been admitted to the trauma center of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. That's the COVID ward of the All India Institute. There is no official statement at the moment. from the hospital, but I think at this juncture, based on what we are hearing, we can conclude that Manmohan Singh has indeed tested positive for COVID. The fact that he's old, as Sunil was mentioning, the fact that he has he's had 2 heart operations, he's diabetic at all. These are all concerns, obviously. Mamata Banerjee tweeting, just got news that former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh G has tested positive for COVID. Our thoughts and prayers for a speedy and full recovery. All right, we'll keep following the story very, very closely. It is a matter of huge concern, obviously, and it comes at an unfortunate time, this unseemly battle which erupted on following a letter from Manmohan Singh to the Health Minister saying, or to the government saying that, look, I have a few suggestions to make on how COVID should be handled, and the response from the Health Minister was anything but pleasant. And now Manmohan Singh finds himself in hospital himself, COVID positive.